Compact, concealable, and deadly, blaster pistols were the go-to firearm for personal defense. They didn't hit as hard as rifles, but they were versatile enough to serve as primary weapons or backups. These sidearms could still take down a humanoid target and breach standard armor with ease. Thousands of pistol models existed across different factions and manufacturers. One standout was the DC-17 blaster pistol, widely used by clone troopers. It delivered solid firepower while staying light enough for dual wielding, perfect for close quarters combat during the Clone Wars and into the Galactic Civil War. The DL-18 was one of the most widely distributed blaster pistols in the galaxy, but despite their popularity, pistols weren't always the preferred choice in battle. Their limited range and lower firepower made them more of a last resort. Most troopers kept their pistols holstered unless the situation got desperate, though in a pinch, a reliable blaster pistol could be the only thing standing between survival and defeat, because sometimes your backup plan is just hoping your aim is better than the bad guys. The Holdout blasters were the definition of discreet. These compact, palm-sized weapons were designed for concealment over power, offering minimal range and reduced firepower compared to standard pistols. But what they lacked in brute force, they made up for in stealth, often favored by spies and criminals. Holdout blasters were actually illegal in several systems due to how easily they could be hidden. Still, they weren't just for smugglers. Certain military units embraced their practicality. For example, Imperial Scout troopers carried holdout pistols as standard issue. Since bulkier weapons would have been too unwieldy while zipping around on speeder bikes, the Naboo Royal Security Forces also relied on them. So much so that Queen Amidala had one concealed inside her throne for emergencies. Even Lando Calrissian carried a discreet weapon of his own, nicknamed the Sting Beam, for those moments where subtlety mattered more than stopping power. These elegant, slim-barreled weapons were a favorite among the wealthy elite. Sporting blaster pistols were designed for style and control rather than pure firepower, intended for shooting practice, hunting small game, or self-defense in civilized settings. Nobles and politicians appreciated how easily they could be disassembled for travel and carried without attracting attention. While their performance lagged behind military-grade weapons, their affordability and accessibility made them popular among both nobles and common citizens. Princess Leia Organa herself carried a Defender-sporting blaster pistol on numerous rebel missions, proof that even the galaxy's most refined figures weren't above packing a sidearm. Apparently, diplomacy works best when backed by a well-aimed blast. By the time of the Galactic Empire, heavy blaster pistols were making a name for themselves. These were essentially stripped-down rifles in pistol form, offering serious firepower in a more compact frame. If standard blasters were sidearms, heavy blasters were more like handheld cannons. Their design balanced raw power with portability, making them popular among smugglers, mercenaries, and officers who needed a reliable weapon without the bulk of a rifle. Their heft also helped absorb recoil, improving shot stability in close quarters firefights. Often equipped with cooling vents and enhanced power cells, these pistols could sustain rapid fire without overheating, critical in intense firefights. The most legendary example, the DL-44 heavy blaster pistol. Made famous by none other than Han Solo, it packed enough punch to drop most enemies in a single shot and became a symbol of defiance throughout the rebellion. With a weapon like that, who needed a lightsaber? Its rugged build and easy-to-use controls made it a favorite for quick draws and surprise attacks. Custom modifications like enhanced power cells and scope attachments further increased its versatility and stopping power, making it feared across the galaxy. Its iconic over-under power pack design also allowed for easier maintenance in the field. Blaster rifles were heavy hitters of the blaster family, far more powerful than standard pistols. With longer barrels, retractable stocks, and mounted scopes, these weapons were built for accuracy and range. The effective firing range hovered between 30 to over 60 meters, making them ideal for frontline combat. Soldiers across the galaxy relied on them as their primary weapon, with countless variations in use. Notable examples include the DC-15A, wielded by clone troopers, and the A-280, carried by rebel forces during the Galactic Civil War. Their modular designs allowed for customization with grenade launchers or laser sights, adapting to multiple combat roles. Many also featured quick-change power cells, minimizing reload times during firefights. Heavy blaster rifles took things even further. These oversized, high-powered rifles delivered devastating damage over greater distances, often only issued to a few soldiers per squad. With exceptionally long barrels, they boasted impressive precision and stopping power, perfect for pinning down enemies or breaking through heavy defenses. One widely used model was the DT-9, a favorite among bounty hunters and specialists specialized stormtroopers tasked with heavier combat roles. These rifles required additional training due to their weight and recoil, but their ability to change the tide of battle made them invaluable in sieges and ambushes. Often fitted with reinforced barrels and shock-absorbing stocks, they could maintain accuracy even in harsh environmental conditions. Sporting blaster rifles were a different breed entirely. Popular among the wealthy, these lightweight rifles were designed for hunting game on wild, untamed worlds rather than battlefield use. They prioritized accuracy and legal availability over firepower. Because they were easier to obtain and less restricted, even bounty hunters sometimes carried them. Luke Skywalker famously kept a sporting rifle stashed in his land speeder, using it to bullseye womp rats back home. Sporting rifles often featured elegant designs and refined craftsmanship, making them collector's items as well as practical tools for wilderness survival and target shooting competitions. Their finely tuned focusing crystals and adjustable triggers allowed for precise shots on fast-moving prey. Blaster carbines offered a middle ground between pistols and full rifles. With shorter barrels and compact two-handed grips, carbines resembled long pistols in both size and handling. They were lighter, more maneuverable, and ideal for close quarters or enclosed environments, faster firing than a standard rifle, comparable to a submachine gun. They offered a tactical edge in fast-paced battles. Carbines were particularly favored by scouts, boarding parties, and specialized troopers operating in tight or unpredictable conditions. Boba Fett's modified EE3 carbine became one of the most recognizable versions. Both sides in the Clone Wars made good use of carbine. The Republic relied on the DC-15S, while battle droids were outfitted with E5s, offering both flexibility and firepower in dense urban or shipboard combat. Reconfigurable blasters brought versatility to a whole new level. These modular weapons could be customized on the fly by attaching different components. The DC-17M used by Republic clone commandos is the perfect example. It could transform from a blaster rifle to a sniper or even a grenade launcher depending on the mission's needs. This eliminated the need to carry multiple bulky weapons, giving commandos more freedom of movement and adaptability. With a single base frame, soldiers had access to multiple combat tools in one streamlined weapon. Similar modular designs were adopted by elite forces across the galaxy, often incorporating magnetic rails and quick swap tech for rapid mid-battle adjustments. Sniper rifles specialized in long-range precision. These weapons fired high-powered beams designed to take out targets with a single, well-placed shot, often to the head. Equipped with bipods and advanced scopes, sniper rifles offered elite marksmen the stability and accuracy needed for their deadly tasks. Some even featured stealth modifications to muffle the sound or suppress the muzzle flash. Used by assassins, bounty hunters, and military sharpshooters alike, they turned patience and precision into lethal efficiency. Clone sharpshooters, Mandalorian snipers often trained for years to perfect the art of long-range elimination, using these rifles to shift the tide of battle before it began. They say patience is a virtue. In this case, it's a very, very deadly virtue. Shocker ion blasters, widely used by Jawas, were designed to shut things down. Literally, these close-range weapons fired charged ion particles that disrupted the internal electronics of droids, effectively disabling them without permanent damage. Ion blasts scrambled circuits and overloaded energy systems, making them especially useful during salvage missions. When used against organic targets, they had a stun-like effect, knocking out opponents without causing lethal harm. Law enforcement units, bounty hunters, and even some Jedi occasionally employed ion weapons for non-lethal takedowns. They were also effective against shields, temporarily weakening or bypassing energy barriers and giving users a brief window of opportunity. Scatter blasters were Star Wars' answer to shotguns. Rather than firing a single focused bolt, they unleashed a spray of energy or a cone-shaped burst of bolts, perfect for close quarters chaos. Their damage output at short distances was devastating, making them ideal for storming trenches or clearing out tight corridors. The wide spread made precision less critical, allowing users to hit multiple enemies at once. Their limited range was a trade-off, but in the right situation, they were brutally effective. The Imperial Army outfitted its Mimban troops with SX-21 scatter blasters, and even Chewbacca used one in Solo when he was temporarily separated from his iconic bowcaster during a chaotic train heist. Repeating blasters delivered sheer volume. These high rate of fire weapons could unleash a torrent of energy blasts in seconds. While multiple models existed, most fell into two main categories: personal repeaters and mounted repeaters. Personal repeating blasters were portable, but just barely. They were heavy, difficult to handle, and usually carried by elite troops who were trained to wield them properly. The T-21 being used by Imperial Shadow Troopers and Magma Troopers, and the Z-6 rotary blaster famously employed by clone forces were two standout examples. These weapons weren't for the faint of heart. One misstep and you were as much a danger to yourself as your enemies. In other words, perfect for anyone who enjoys living on the edge or accidentally shooting themselves. Mounted repeating blasters, on the other hand, were built for defense. Fixed onto tripods for extra stability, these turret-style weapons were commonly stationed at bases and outposts to mow down advancing troops. Among the most notorious was the E-Web Heavy Repeating Blaster, a powerful crew-operated weapon seen in action across multiple battles. Blaster melee hybrids offered a unique twist. These creative combinations fused traditional blasters with close-range melee options, turning each weapon into a multifunctional tool. Some notable examples include the Mott bow rifles, Mon Calamari blaster spears, K2 staff, and blast swords. While these hybrids weren't as widespread, they brought flair and utility to warriors who needed to adapt in the thick of combat. Many were custom-built or culturally specific, reflecting the craftsmanship of their creators. Mandalorian warriors, for example, often integrated vibroblades into gauntlet blasters for seamless transitions in battle. In chaotic environments where enemies closed distance quickly, these dual-purpose weapons ensured fighters were never caught unprepared. They embodied both innovation and survival instinct. Blasters have shaped the battles and stories that define the galaxy, each weapon designed with a specific purpose and forged in the heat of conflict. By understanding their power, history, and unique roles, we get a deeper glimpse into the lives of the warriors who carried them and the struggles they faced. Whether it's the quick draw of a heavy pistol or the precision of a sniper rifle, every blaster tells a story. If you're hungry for more Star Wars lore or breakdowns of weapons, planets, characters, and more, make sure to check out more related content shown on screen.